Okay, looks like we are on. And mic check, mic check. All right, good evening, everyone. So, a lot of you might have seen that the stream kind of kicked the bucket today. My internet just died. Another good reason why I couldn't be trading, in addition to the fact that I am working 9 to 5. I'm trying to record this stuff, so sadly, I can't trade all the time. But I will trade when I can. Once I start trading live, I'm going to have to put that disclosure for the CFTC that none of my trades are trading advice. So you'll start to see that kind of like incorporated into my videos soon. But until then, let's talk about price action and let's go over to the charts. So we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what happened today, and how that relates to everything that I talked about pre-market, and we'll go from there. Because I'm hoping to be on just a short session today because there is a gentleman whom I want to create some content for in terms of how to pass these accounts, strategies for passing these accounts. Very important to me, and I've now figured it out given that I have about gosh, how many accounts do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 PA of accounts that are live with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to come that are just waiting for the days traded left. So 19 total, 50K accounts, maxed it out. I think I have a 150K account on a different account as well. So just maxed out with this particular account, and yeah, some pretty cool stuff. Glad you're here along with the journey, and I hope to be able to get to a point in the winter time to set aside a large chunk of time where I can trade live with you here. So let's go to the charts though. So this is the weekly. Again, we're in the premium area here. I'm going to zoom in on the weekly candles themselves so we can see a little bit more, because it's tough to see with all these different lines here and whatnot. So yeah, on the weekly, just like I mentioned in pre-market prep, we see this weekly sell side imbalance from here. If I can get this thing to work, from here down to here. See that? And that consequent encroachment there. So I still believe we are headed upwards a bit. We haven't touched that low just yet. So I think that we can and will expand up in that region. Now keep in mind, I did mention during the weekly prep that this new week opening gap is going to be very important. We'll see what happened today that allowed us to see a ping pong type action. So for the day, yesterday's price action, we stayed pretty much within this previous wick. So we have external liquidity on both of these sides. Both of these are still very important parts because we did not break above them or below them. So we want to see what direction this wants to go in this coming day. So will Monday form a low for the rest of the week? Will Tuesday form a higher low for the rest of the week? The chances are that Tuesday or Wednesday, the higher or low of the week, probably like 70-80% of the time it's formed already. So that should help give us a little bit better bias as to which way it wants to run. Now, non-farm payroll is on Friday, so that can and will take out both sides typically. So let's go on. We know on the daily over here, and for reference, keep in mind we are still very much in a premium area, right? You can see that this is that midpoint of this initial big swing. So we can see that on the daily we're still in the midst of quite a nice area. So we have this fair value gap, which we've gone into a little bit. We created a short-term high. This was a higher high, 14,956. This one's 14,952. So we have technically created one short-term high here. There's nothing on this side, so this is the very first one. Until we get a couple more days in and we break it again, I don't consider this to be a market structure shift to the upside, although I do see upside targets. So we're keeping that in mind as we go forward. We do see that this wick moved down, closed in that new week opening gap. And in order to see that better, we're going to go down into the lower time frames to take a look and see what happened. So on the 4 hour, so we're going to take a look at the 4 hour. We can see that we, despite having this big, nice, juicy 4 hour gap up here, we kind of see that we went up and took out this rejection block here, these two relative equal highs here. That's a rejection block, and that's an item that was tagged on Friday, actually. So with this one, we can see we tagged that and immediately rejected from there, and then towards the end of the day ended up giving up a lot of that rejection. So they got a lot of people could go short there, faked them out, bounced, respected this new week opening gap, right? So that I find very interesting, is the bodies have respected it. We see lower, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, kind of like, I guess this could be considered higher low, but this whole area is kind of jumbled a little bit, messy. And until we get out of this range, this is kind of like this balance. You see back here the bodies of the candles. This whole range is balanced here. It's very large balanced range, and even these two candles, this kind of signifies a change in price delivery. So that is also why I'm looking a little bit upwards for the time being. So yeah, I mean, previous days close, high, open, and low, or previous 4 hour candle rather. I don't see, I mean, I see that we could not break sell side. We could not take these relative equal lows. Price stopped before getting there. So I'm thinking that we still go test this weekly SIBI low. I think we will head towards that area, and that also takes us into the midpoint of that discount SIBI high and low here. So that's what I see on the 4 hour, and that would have helped us identify a key possible turning point in today's price action. Let's take a look at the hourly next. So when we take a look at the hourly, we also see that at the same time, we have this same smooth rejection block here, and what happens to price right then and there? It rejects. So starting to keep an eye out for them, and we start to notice things like how when this rejection block doesn't really get traded to the whole way, we start to see that we see a little bit of a really slight change in action, where we have a higher high, higher low, and then movement towards a higher high. In Asia, we've already closed this fair value gap, which occurred here. I don't know what's going to happen next, but for now, we're sitting above the new week opening gap. I think that we continue forward, and we have kind of relative equal highs here, very rough here. So I think we're going to tackle that still. Bias has not changed. One thing I want to point out here, on the 15-minute now, we're on the 15-minute, okay? So one thing I would like to point out here, and we're going to look at today, yesterday, about 3 days worth of data. This gap formed right when the new week opened. And remember, if you watched my weekly synopsis, my kind of like synopsis for the week, I mentioned that price is likely going to go grab buy stops here and then take out this liquidity void. What happened today? It traded in Asia, London, it took out exactly, like, you can't even make this up. So what's the high on this? 15007.25, right? What's the high on this? 1511. So 15,011. So just peaked above that and then continued to take out these relative equal lows here. And it did so with some fervor all the way back down to the new week opening gap low. It does jolt up a little bit, but then it continues downwards to take out this sell side liquidity and fails to take out the higher time frame sell side liquidity. So with this, so far it's kind of gone down into this fair value gap, hit this this is kind of like a mitigation block there, but actually we see a low, high, lower low, higher high, and this makes that a breaker at that point in time. So this leads me to believe we'll head up towards these markers here. And I might as well just put this up here because that's where the tops are. And that's right at the midpoint of this wick here as well. So a lot of really good confluences. And it's kind of tough to see on my live stream because I have 4 time frames open, but you kind of need those time frames to give you a good sense of what's going on there. If you want, and if it's valuable, I could just stick with the hourly 15-minute and then put the 5-minute on a larger time frame so you can see more of the peaks and troughs and some of the fair value gaps that form. Or we could do 15, 5, and 1 minute for you scalpers. I haven't decided yet because I like seeing at the very least this time frame for the long term. For somebody who's studying price action, you kind of do need to see it from at least an hourly perspective. Otherwise you can get stopped out really easily. You can get kind of like juked by the market. So yeah. On the 15-minute today, that's exactly what happened. We see engineered highs here. We see that once we took this high, we had to create some lows, take out this short-term area, short-term low, and then we bounce straight from here. So let's take a look at this section, and this section on a lower time frame to see if we can identify any key areas of liquidity. I'm going to go down to a 1 minute just to because of time. So we have London. Remember, this is the first time that we took out. It'll still look different because it's on a 1 minute, but keep in mind that this was the it looks a little bit different with the data here. Let me go on a 5 minute and maybe it'll be easier to see. Okay, so let's have to go back to the hourly. Let's put this up. I think I had put this right here with the rejection block being at the open of 15036.75. So let's keep that there for the time being. Oops, damn it. We want October 2023, and we want this to be the same price. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this up here for our own purposes, and we'll go down to a smaller time frame. So we have that rejection block there. Okay, so bottom line is a rejection block. Top line is consequent encroachment of that higher time frame wick. Let's take a look at London here. So on London, you see a short-term low form here. You see, what is that? A displacement candle. You don't have to. So this red candle is on a lower time frame, a 15-second time frame. You don't have to trade that. You can stick with this 1 minute for now. There's plenty of setups here. So what do I see there? We see a displacement that kind of keys you in that, hey, we just came off a rejection block. We displaced lower than a short-term low. Now I think the market's going to run. So you can take this fair value gap that's right there, and that would be your entry right at that high of 15026.50. And that's it. I mean, you saw it come up. I mean, assuming that you were around for 11:30, you could have taken this right at 15.026, and you would have taken 50 cents. So 2 ticks of heat, and then within a minute, and then you would have within 3 minutes, if you had gotten it at 26, within 3 minutes you would have gotten down to 15.013. So that's 20. It's about 13 handles right there. 4 and 5 minutes would have gotten you all the way down to 1500, right? Even less than that, 14,986 from 1526. So that's like 40 handles in 5 minutes. You can't get much better of a setup than that. I'll talk about this kind of a setup more in the training session that I create for beginners, intermediates, and advanced folks that are starting the Apex funded trader prop firms. And I will talk through each of those different levels and what you should be doing and how you should be thinking about passing those challenges, and going about what kind of strategy to use if you're at different levels. So this is something really easy here. If I take, let me see if I can measure this. Do I have a measure? I can't remember. Maybe a ruler? What does this do? Okay, so good enough. So this gives me about 41 handles. Now, if you only targeted this alone, and you would have gotten your fill, that's 41 handles, okay? Now, if you would have been able to weather the storm for about 20 handles, which is a lot, and you would have been able to hold some of your position even further, this would have been the next target at 80 handles. There were definitely reasons why you could still hold it. It's basically a market maker sell model here. But in the event, let's say you didn't, let's say you just stuck at 40 some handles, 41 handles or so. That's still really, really strong. I mean, with one contract of NASDAQ, one contract is $5 per tick. So times 4 ticks in a point times 41 points. So even if you traded one contract, you'd be at $820 for that. And you shouldn't be trading one contract at the very beginning, but you know what I mean for those that are, wanting to see the math. So yeah, I think that would have been a good signature. When you broke below this bearish order block and came back to it, that would have been another entry, scaled down to aim for this low here. And I think that you would have exited probably around here. If you were to hold on to this candle, I would have probably exited at that point in time and been done with it, given that where we are in this new week opening range here. But yeah, that was probably one of the better plays. I was in meetings at the time, so I could not take it. But let's take a look further down as well. So we want to take a look at, so we just looked at this point here, right? A little bit before then, we did not hit the rejection block here, so we're not really thinking much about that. But look at the bodies of these candles on the hourly. They're respecting this new week opening gap here. I mean, so we trade once through it. The bodies trade into the consequent encroachment, come back to the bottom, and immediately rebalance at the end of the day. What does that make that new week opening gap now? So that's a balanced price range now. So we see that it has immediately bounced off of this and continued upwards. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this new week opening gap on a non-farm payroll week, you're going to see it continue to return and oscillate to it this week until it gets to non-farm payroll, and then we will see what direction it decides to go. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that breakdown helped. I mean, for me, you know where my bias is now. You know where I'm looking. If I am wrong, which is very possible. I mean, we did see higher time frame shifts in market structure here. Now it's just consolidating here. You can't really say much. It could go all the way back down here. It could consolidate, but that's all it's doing right this moment. So you can't really see much right now. You can see that we've dropped down a bit from the peaks of the 16,000s, but we're nowhere near. If I go back here, we're nowhere near. Gosh, I can't expand this anymore. Some of the lows that we've gone up from. So one thing I do see is that a lot of retail are going to see this as an inverted head and shoulders. You see that? While that certainly can happen, I think that people are going to get stuck going a little bit too long, and my eyes still are drawn to this SIBI here. This mitigation block, I think, is huge. I think we'll end up hitting that at some point. If we're super bearish, we might not, but I mean, you know, we all know that there's some targets to the downside as well. So yeah, I think with that, I think that's it. Tomorrow I will look for these are either these relative equal lows to be taken first, and then we head back upwards, or maybe we take out these highs first, head upwards even further, take out this short-term high, and go from there. So that's what I'm thinking for tomorrow. Again, we're still in this range. When we're in a range, I don't have high probability trades. When I don't have high probability trades, like you saw this morning, I only took one copied trade, and it was, sorry, two copy trades. One I got stopped out of, and another which I made up for that trade and then some. So nothing huge today. You know, I'm working with 2 micros, very small size. So my profits are somewhere in the $40 to $80 range. Any given trade right this moment. And there's a good reason for that. I'll get into risk management. There's a whole nother session that I mean, let me know if you want to even like hear about that, but I've spent a lot of time calculating out what is reasonable to risk and how that helps you stay in the game much longer. So if you're interested in me doing that, just at me in the comments below. Thank you so much for subscribing. I need to hop off so I can create the curriculum. I'm going to create a video, and maybe I'll demo it later today or tomorrow. We'll see when I can upload it. I'll just try and upload it at some point so that maybe tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon people can watch it. Maybe even tomorrow evening before I go live too. So if I can finish it today, I'll schedule it to debut or like to open up maybe at the end of the day, so that you know at the end of the workday you can come home and watch how to do Apex. Hopefully it will have everything from beginners traders to intermediate traders to advanced traders. It'll have everything that you need in order to come up with a good strategy with how to handle Apex as a trading firm, prop trading firm, what my strategy is and why it works. And we'll go from there. So with that, I'm going to close down. Again, apologize for the internet cutting out today. I hope it doesn't happen anymore, but yeah, fingers crossed. So with that, I'm going to close the stream. Thank you very much for joining in, listening in, and as always, I appreciate your viewership and appreciate your subscribers. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe I'm up to like, I think the last I saw I'm up to like 90 people, which is insane for me. So I hope I can continue to try to provide value for you. I want to be able to trade live with you and for you soon, but my 9 to 5 job just does not allow for that. So I will still keep the screen up so we can watch price action in the future. I actually won't be here tomorrow, but I will record this same price action here so we can see the 1 minute, we can see the 5 minute, we can see the 15 minute how it rolls, in the 1 hour as well. So I will still have that rolling tomorrow, just I won't physically be here. I'll be working in office, so I will not be trading tomorrow. But you know what I'm looking for. If you don't, then go back and watch this. And good luck tomorrow. I will do a market review when I get back, and I'll analyze what happened, where my highest probability entries would have been, and then go from there. So with that, thank you very much. Have a great evening, get some rest, and we'll talk soon. See ya.